Hey everyone, this is K.K Abraham from Tayola, and welcome to Adobe Premiere Pro CS6 Lesson 9. Today we're going to look into titles and lower thirds. We're going to learn how to create standard titles, lower thirds, rolling and curl text, and lastly, how to use Photoshop for text and titles. Now that I got your attention, let's get right to it. All right, so now we're gonna start on creating text and titles for Premiere Pro. Now, the first thing you do when you wanna create your text, you go onto your title menu. And when you go to your title menu, you have your new title, and we have three different options here. Now, the first thing we're gonna focus on, we're gonna look into default still. Now, what still means is that it allows you to create your title. It'll be a still title, so it won't be moving up or down or left and right. When you click on your still title, you will come across your new title dialog with your width, your height, of course your time base, and your pixel, which I recommend you to leave the same because the information you have on your dialog box is just to let you know of exact information you have on your timeline. So of course, if you have a 1920 by 1080 timeline or sequence, then your new title is going to develop or is going to create the same sequence you have within your timeline. So most of the time, I would just click OK just to go through it. So now that we got through that, we're going to click OK. Now, when you click OK, I'm going to expand my frame, my title frame here. Now, when you click OK, you have your title frame. Now, one thing I wanted to let you guys know, just in case, just a rule of thumb, whenever you have your playhead located, it is exactly what is going to be shown onto your frame of your title. Okay? So now what we have here, we have this beautiful skyline, and I'm just going to type in your skyline, okay? I've typed in my title for this particular background. If you want to type with a transparent background, you can click this background dialog box and you can type in your transparent, but I recommend you to always have the background there. The reason is so that your text can be placed properly onto your background. Now let's get to the technical side with on your left-hand side where all your tools are. Now what we have here, of course, we have our selection tool, which is V. We have our text tool, which is T. We have our vertical text tool, so you can type vertical. We also have this area type tool. So it's where when you click on that box, it's a box where it allows you to type within a particular location. When you click on that box, you have a vertical area as well, so you can type in vertical within that box area. So I'm gonna give you an example of what I mean. So if I click on that, I can just drag, and here you have it. You have a vertical. So if I go skyline again, as you see it's vertical. So let me hold Command. For PC, it would be Control. Let me stretch this thing out so you can see what I'm talking about. So see here, we have a vertical text, and we have a regular horizontal text here. Okay. So now you guys get the idea. Also, we have a path type tool, a vertical path type tools. We also have some pen tools. We also have some shape tools, and we also have this text display to kind of let us know how our text will look from each changes that we make. Now, I'm going to hover my mouse over it so you can see more of the title styles that we have here. Now, I usually would prefer just to work with my Adobe default text. On top, what we have here is we have our text tools. Below our text tools, we have alignment. Okay, we have alignment. So what we have here, if I just select all, you can have vertical center and you have horizontal. So you can use that tool to align your text to be at the center of your frame. Okay. Let's say I want to select some of these texts that we have below. We could change this text to this one here or this one here. I like this text here or this text here. Now, what we have here, I selected as a lime green text. Now, I want to do is that I want to change the color. Now, what we have this fill type here. Right beside a fill type, we have an option where it allows us to select different types of color patterns. So we have our solid, which you select one type of color. So if I just go, let's say red, or let's say like tangerine. Yeah, red. Yeah, leader and gradient, what you have here, it allows you to select two different colors. So let's say I want to use more of a peach color. All right. Radiant, gradient. Let's say now I want to enlarge my text. You can kind of, you can enlarge your text how you want to enlarge it. Okay. As you see here. Let me just put this thing back. Let me go undo it. Now, if I hold shift and command, it allows me to expand my text in a certain shape. Okay. Now, while I do that, what happens when you look above your text layer, you have your size. So if I undo that, you see it's 100%, but if I go type in 200%, it expands. Okay. And if you don't like where your text is lined up, you can just, again, have your align tool to center it, or you could press V for your selection tool, and you can have it align where you want your text into. So let's say I want to have it in the top corner so that it can stand out a lot more from the bottom image of that frame. Now, when I do that, we have a lot of properties here, as you see. So I know I went over fill. I also want to kind of show you a little bit more on your inner stroke and outer stroke. So as you see here, you can click and add. And when you do that, you can add another property, which helps you to add a lot more detail to your text. Also, I want to show you how you guys use shadow tool. Okay. Now we have the shadow tool below here, and you can just expand. This is what I usually do personally, what I like to do. Let me just bring the gradient back to linear. Okay. Now with the linear, as you see here, the more you have your color picker close to each other, you have a sharp line in between your two colors. If you spread it out, you have a nice blend in between your text. Okay. And now if I want to go and include shadow, you have a little shadow here. You can also change the degree angle of your shadow. You can increase the size of your shadow, and spread. Spread is to kind of soften your shadow, right? So you can have a nice solid shadow, or a nice solid shadow, and you can then create the distance for the shadow. Usually, the distance, if you want to have a nice distance or a nice pop up with your text, I usually keep my distance between 2 to like 6. In between that time, in between those two numbers, in order for me to have a nice shadow line here. Okay. So take the time to look through the properties, and I'm going to go through a little bit more properties as we continue with this lesson, so you guys could get more understanding of your standardized text. Okay. So now I'm going to click this off. So I'm good with what I have here. I like what I have. I'm going to click it out. And now when I do that, I have my text tool onto my project panel. And what I do, I'm going to drag it and I'm going to place it down onto my footage. And what you have here, you have skyline. And the good thing about your text, you can stretch it as long as you want so that it can meet to the end of your clip. So we have skyline here, and you have the plane flying through. So this is how you do your standardized text. Okay. What we're going to do now is that we're going to go and again, go to our title, new title, and we're going to just then go to our default stills. So we're going to continue to go on stills, and we have title 2 and click OK. So now what we're going to do, we're going to create a lower third for this delicious baked cookie that's in the oven. And what we're going to do first is that we're going to have, first I want to create the shape where you can have your lower third. So what we have here, we have the shape layers as I mentioned before. So I'm going to go and click on this rounded corner rectangle. And I'm going to expand that. Okay. I'm going to hold, we have the selection tool selected still. So I'm going to bring that back here. Right. Also, what we have here, I know right now it looks very plain and boring, which is okay, because then it allows us to have more creativity with our lower third. Now, what we're going to do is that with solid, we're going to have a linear gradient. And within linear gradient, we're going to go select the color that would be best for this lower third. Now, we're going to have, let me see, I like this nice sky blue. Okay. And then my secondary color. Let's see here. I might go with a little bit darker blue. Okay. So we have this nice, beautiful gradient here. Let's see if I want to add in shadows. Yes, to kind of give it a little bit more depth to the lower third. I like it spread to 30. Size, I'll keep it as, let's say 3 to give it a little bit more depth. And the angle, I want the angle to be more on top here. So let's say minus 50%. All right, we got that here. Great. Now, I want to kind of add a little bit more transparency between the lower third here. So what I'm going to do is the opacity. I'm going to just bring it down. Would that be a good idea? Okay, let's see how I can bring that to 90. Is there any way I can bring down the gradient level? Will be great. Okay. So now I have that here. We have our lower third, and I'm going to add in my text tool. So what you see here, when I click on my text tool, if I go baked cookies, okay. Now let me go capitalize the B. This is just for example, and as you see here, the text and the lower third are exactly the same. So we're definitely going to change that up. I'm going to create the text to be solid, but now I'm going to have the text to have a nice yellow. Yeah, I like this. No, let me see. Yeah, let me make a bright yellow here. So you see how automatically the text stands out. And what's unique about this technique here is that when you type in your text, the property that we have for lower third is consistent. You have your shadows, you have your fills, okay? When you have your tool into text and you want to select it quickly, you just hold Command and it allows you to select your text and move it where you want to move it to. So we have that here. And now what we're going to do now, that we're going to press Alt and click to drag. So what Alt and click does, it allows us to duplicate our text. So I'm going to have the top text. Now what I'm going to do with the top text, I'm going to enlarge it. So I'm going to just put at least 150. Okay. And I'm going to select that here. And the bottom, select that here. So let me make sure I align this properly. Okay, so now we got that here. And for the bottom, which is the subtitle text, the subtext, this is the bottom text here. I'm going to press T for text. And I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to go to bake cookies. And I'm going to go and cook in to tour. Our baked cookies cooking tutorial. We have that here. So what we just did here, we just showed you how you can create your lower third onto your actual footage clip in the background. Now let's see if I wanted to create a little bit more transparency with the lower third. So I'm gonna, hold on, press V. So the good thing is that if you want to select a property or a clip, or if you want to select, if you want to make sure you know what you're selecting, every time you have your mouse on a selection tool hovered over a text or your background, you have a white line highlighted over to let you know that you can select it. Okay, and then you can move it how you want to move it too. So now we actually have completed a lower third. Now if I just click that out and we have our text 2, we have a text 1 here. So at times we tend to mistaken or get confused of which text we have worked on. So we know that the text 1, the first text, is the skyline. And then the text 2 will be lower third. So we go lower third. All right. So I'm going to go and have my lower third drag onto my second clip. And what we can do is that we will add a transition so you can see how it looks. So let me go and add in a transition. I'm going to add a dissolve. Let me add in the cross dissolve for both texts. So let's see how that looks. And I'm going to add a cross dissolve at the end. Let's play that one more time, see how that looks. So we have our baked cookie here, tutorial. All right, so that is how you create your lower thirds with your text tool. Next, what we're going to do, we're going to create a rolling and crawl text. So now in order to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to go the same technique by going on title menu, and we're going to go on new title, but instead of going on still, we're going to go on roll. Now crawl, what we have here, crawl is text that go left to right or right to left. That technique is used for like Amber Alert, or when you have a serious thunder around your area and your news anchor or your news channel has this text going across from one end to another. That is that technique they use for crawl. Now for roll, I'm gonna click on roll, and you have the same technique. Now instead of me typing in the name of the text, I will just have I'll go ending credit, and I'm gonna click OK. Now we have our frame back here again. First, what we need to do is we need to look in our rolling and crawl options. When you click on that, you have your rolling and crawl options appear, and what you have here, we have our title type. So it's gonna be a roll. It's gonna be a roll. And we're gonna just leave the crawl left and right alone because I kind of explained that earlier. And when you do that, you have your timing frame. So when you click on your timing frame from the start to end, what that does, it allows your allows your text to roll up, and it also to roll up completely where you don't see it no more. So after you do that, you click in OK. Now, what we will do here, I just copied a paragraph for my Word document. I'm gonna just click hold Command V to paste it, and for some reason you can just enter that here. So when you have your text that just kind of goes on one vertical line or one horizontal line, you could just press enter. So you could go on each sentence and then press enter to make sure you have all the text involved. Or better yet, you can go and click in your area type, so you could just have it stretched, and then you can type it, your area text, all here for you. There's many ways how you can copy and paste your paragraph or your text into your background frame by creating your own area type. And you can create the size of the area type by clicking and dragging. And when you figure out the size of the text, the size of your box, then you can go within that box, copy and paste your text. And what we have here, you have your text pasted into your background frame. Now what we're gonna do, I'm gonna select all of it, and what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna have it centered. Now that I have it centered, I'm also going to add in shadows so that it can kind of give it a nice pop to it. So now that we have that here, we are going to add shadow, which we did. I'm going to make it 100%. I'm going to have the size 5, the spread. Let me just put 10 here. And for the distance, you can have it 10. We have a stroke layer. So we have our inner stroke. We're going to add that. And your stroke, what we can do is that we can add to depth. And we see the depth, you can see the difference. Okay. Make sure you select your text as well so that your effects can be changed while you do that. Or drop face. So I just kind of leave it at the edges. And you can have the size of your stroke. So I'll have 10 as my ideal size. Okay, and the color, you just leave it solid. But you can also change the color to whatever color you feel like. Red, if it's necessary. Blue, right? I kind of like blue. That kind of gives it a nice cool feel to it. Okay. So I like how this thing looks. So now that we got that here, I'm good with what we have. So now I'm just going to exit that out. And what we have here, we have our ending credit. Now if I just kind of put it over here, let's see how that turns out. So I press play. Now that's pretty quick what we have here. So in case you're a fast reader, you definitely can kind of catch on to each word and sentence just from this quick 5-second clip. But what we're going to do is that when we kind of stretch it out, you see how nice and smooth and how it takes its time from one end of the clip to another. So now it takes its time to look at by reading the text, as you see here. Just fast track it so you get the idea. Now what we're going to do is that the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to File, we're going to go to New, and we're going to go and click into Photoshop File. So when you click on Photoshop File, it gives you your video settings. I click OK because it's going to be the exact same settings that you have on your timeline. So you click OK. And now you're always going to click in Add to Project Merge Layers. Now it'll bring you to your it'll bring it to your save files. It'll take it to your save file where it'll take it to your file where you should save your project. Now I always recommend you to always name your title. So I'll have Photoshop text. And when you have that, when you create your name for that, you click save. So you have you always make sure you click into add to project, merge layers. Okay. So when you have that, click save. And when you do that, it'll take you straight to Photoshop where you now can create your actual text or your lower third. So what we're going to do first is we're going to create our text layers. And I'm going to go and press T for text. And what we're going to do is I'm going to type in Clift. I'm going to highlight that and I'm going to select my font that'll be best for this particular project here. Nope, I don't want to make it. Let's find. That's the issue I have sometimes, to find the perfect font for this. Arial black, and I'm gonna have okay. So I like it like that. Let's make this thing a little bigger, 60, and bring it down to your layer here. So now it always will come out as transparent, so that it gives you the opportunity to do your edit for your Premiere Pro. Now, I'm going to go and add a little bit more details to my text tool. So I'm going to go to my layer. I'm going to go layer style. I'm going to go to blending options. Now, first, I'm going to go and change the color of I'm going to change the color first. Color overlay. I'm going to change the color for my text. And I'm going to change it to, what color should I change it to? I like a nice peach tangerine color. Okay, so I'll click OK. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to click in bevel, and I'm going to have those first two text effects to add on to it, couture and texture. It gives it a nice effect to the text. I'm gonna click OK. I'm gonna create a banner, or I'm gonna create a lower third. I'm gonna go to, again, I'm gonna go to my layer style, blending option, and I'm gonna go to tour and texture. Also, I'm then gonna go again to color overlay. So I'm gonna change the red color. I'll make it nice and blue, as you see here. And also, I'm gonna go to bring down the opacity. So 75% would be perfect. Okay. Now, the reason why I choose those two, I choose the bevel option. Adobe can only do so much with their effects and how you can enhance your text or your shape layers. So Photoshop allows you to do a little bit more to your objects, your text, or your layers, so you can add onto your Premiere Pro. I like how this looks. I'm gonna click OK. I'm gonna put my clip title on top. I'm gonna put that right underneath. Hold. So yeah, I'm gonna click on my cliff text. Let me make this thing a little bit bigger, man. This thing is a little bit small. This is gonna be real simple, so you guys get full understanding. I like how this looks. I'm gonna just put it right on the line, so it's placed perfectly. Now I have my cliff text here. So now I like how this looks, so I'm gonna save it. So what you do is that you go, you save, and when you do that, it gives you a warning box. Just click OK. Don't worry about that. Click OK. You're going to go back to Premiere Pro. You are going to then open your file. You're going to go to your folder and you're going to import it into your project panel. Now it's going to tell you to import layers. You just have it all merge all layers. Click OK. And when you do, you bring that on top of your file. And what you have here, you have your cliff folder here. Now this is, well, now the cool thing about this particular technique here is that when you want to fix this particular image or this lower third, you right click, you're gonna go to edit in Adobe Photoshop. When you click on your edit Photoshop, you click an upgrade or give it the option to upgrade it. You say, okay, have your selection tool ready. You have it right there in front now, all the way to the other end. You click save. You can go back into your Premiere Pro and you see it updates. So that's how you work with Photoshop layers onto your Premiere Pro. A quick recap of what we've learned in lesson 9. We've learned how to create standardized titles, lower thirds, rolling and crawl text, and lastly, using Photoshop for text and titles. Now, if you have any questions or comments, put them in the comment section below. Please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. This is K.K. Abraham from Tayola telling you to leave your mark. Take care.